Hawks were a powerhouse, weren't they? Throughout the late 80s, or mid 80s, the late 80s, early 90s. So, yeah, I remember Anthony Condon and Ben Allen and Johnny Platt and these sort of players were pretty well established stars for Hawthorn, and Michael Tuck and Langford and these sort of guys and Brereton have been around for a long time, Dipper. I remember us really being able to take it up to them. I mean, we had some good contests with those guys, and I think they knew that we were going to be one of their main sort of stumbling blocks.
And West Coast leads at 5-1 to 3-4 at quarter time.
That was an amazing game. I played in the preliminary final of 1991, so I'm one of those poor buggers who gets that call from the coach, or gets called over by the coach, and you're going to miss the grand final. and that was about as much as Mick did. He just called me home and goes, "Barry, you're not playing." I didn't win the grand final, so it wasn't as painful for me, but part of me wanted to win, but the other half of me I didn't want to miss my chance. And so I was an emergency. So again, I was going through that process of warming the boys up and having to pretend that I was super fired up.
Carl Langdon, helpless.
One thing about, particularly Hawthorn, is that I think out of all the teams at that particular time that you feared the most was them, because of the great track record that they'd had just recently before, and the calibre of players that they still had in their team. When you talk about Platten and Pritchard and Brereton and Mew and Hall, and then you go to their forward line with Dunstall and so on. It was a very talented team.
We were almost arch rivals at that time, because a lot of the Eagles' development was based on Hawthorn. They studied Hawthorn because they were the gun team, them and the Bombers of the 80s, and they had studied Hawthorn. And a lot of that culture that they developed, we developed here, and we sort of pinched a few ideas and took on board that family and that resilience and that toughness and that sort of stuff that Hawthorn were famous for. And there were so many big names out there.
Long kick, great kick.
If I'd have said to you after the game, I'd kick 5 and Brett Heady 4, 9 times out of 10 you say West Coast would win that game. And that's what happened, but we didn't win. So it was an amazing thing, because normally we were good at keeping sides down to, under 14 goals. And if the two key forwards, myself and Brett, had kicked 9, then normally we'd be kicking 14, 15. But it just didn't work that day for us, and we probably leaked too many easy goals for Mick's liking and everyone else's.
Very cold Waverley, just because MCG was being renovated, just such a cold place. Worst place for West Australians ever. It just capped off a bad day when we didn't win the game, when we were the best team in 1991, clearly the best team.
To take the premiership off this team, who at some stages through this ground of this season must have felt that they were the top team in the competition. Number 1 for 24 weeks, but the Hawks have been able to take it from them.
Pretty tough day that one.
It was a great game, and of course they got over the top of us, which wasn't that great, but we bounced back after that.
We should have won that game, but give all credit to Hawthorn. They caught us off guard and really hammered it home.